at Lincoln Center. The program uses jazz to help teach history in the classroom and provide music students and their teachers with jazz workshops and other learning opportunities.
Jazz is considered by many to be America's most truly original art form. It is the basis for much of our popular music and is deeply embedded in our history as a people. It also is being used to teach history in an innovative program called Jazz from A to Z.
History through the ages has often not been taught in the most exciting way, unfortunately, because it's our story, it's who we are, and yet too often kids don't have the perspective of it that way. They think of it as a bunch of facts and figures, a bunch of biographical information, major events, but not connected in the way that we think of really dramatic stories. Jazz music, it was integrated into the life of America and changed as we changed as Americans and as we grew. And so the music can make the story so compelling. It's a way of making the studies exciting.
Jazz from A to Z is a incredibly unique program in that it is working with not only teachers, but students as well. So there is this access to learning by all ages. So Jazz from A to Z is working with American history teachers to activate their curriculum through jazz. So when we have teacher workshops in the high schools, the jazz band is invited to come and participate, to demonstrate music, but also to participate in the learning. So they're building a deeper connection to history through jazz. The teachers and students have come together and they're building curriculum for their classrooms. And the students come away completely excited and jazzed about jazz.
Jazz from A to Z represents a partnership between the Mesa Arts Center, Mesa Public Schools, Arizona State University, and Jazz at Lincoln Center. Based on the National Endowment for the Arts Jazz curriculum, the program strives to create a meaningful connection to one of America's greatest cultural resources.
What we're trying to do is to enrich students' understanding of history through music, particularly jazz. We think of music as a primary source, something that is left from the past that speaks to us and enriches our understanding of the past. For example, we looked at the undercurrents, the rebellious aspect of the 1950s and the unbelievable genius of these black musicians who are reflecting their world at the time. Why does the music sound different? How is it a mirror of what was going on in America at that time? We analyzed a piece by one of Arizona's jazz greats, which was Charles Mingus. And he wrote a piece called Fables of Fathers. And what was one of the most amazing things that happened in that workshop was that we had a renowned bass player, Rodney Whitaker, and Eli Yamin from Jazz at Lincoln Center actually play Fables of Fathers live to really bring home the protest nature of the piece. So we got a lot of different perspectives, which is crucial to understanding history. They better understood the history because of the music.
Another objective of the Jazz from A to Z program is to enhance the musical proficiency of both students and teachers with opportunities such as an intensive band director academy.
Get it! Look your face! Mess up your face! Get the ugly face!
This annual 3-day workshop provides participants with teaching insights and techniques, as well as hands-on learning with renowned artist educators from the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra.
The goal of this program is basically to bridge the gap between education of music educators and actually jazz education, and also to fortify the concepts about teaching jazz. We've seen a lot of directors becoming more interested in playing music from the masters like Duke Ellington, like Benny Carter, people like Dizzy Gillespie, who's one of our people this year we're using music from. And basically those concepts allow them to play any music that's out there. It's really getting them to motivate the students to want to enjoy and play this music.
The two main things that are really stuck in my head right now are the concepts that we can give the kids and culture. So those two C words are just bouncing back and forth. Once you have a strong foundation and fundamental concept of what jazz is, it's really easy to build on that, and you establish that love. And completely invaluable to have somebody that has sat with Miles Davis, that has had conversations with Clark Terry, and sat with Dizzy. I mean, I'm one step away from legends that have built this culture, so it's very, very cool.
1, 2.
That's us.
Jazz from A to Z also offers master classes for junior high and high school jazz bands. At Red Mountain High School, students were given help perfecting their repertoire for the prestigious Essentially Ellington Jazz Competition.
I was asked to come out and talk to the students, see what they're doing, first of all, and then based on that, determine what I would say. And for the most part, they were nailing the music. It was great. It's just great working with these great band directors that are putting these bands together and continuing the legacy of jazz, and these students that seem to be totally into it.
They're amazing teachers, and they describe things so well. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, seeing those big names, it kind of gives you an uplift. You're like, oh, I got to go home and start practicing again. You know, because it's really fun like that. It's good to see people in the business that, you know, you can strive to become.
It's crazy to have someone standing like 2 feet away from you and who's been through it all, and like they're like just such a big name and they're so famous, and you're learning from them. They're telling you that you're doing it great and you're playing it so well, and it's kind of hard to believe that you're even like there. And it's wonderful to hear them say like the little tips they give you, and then you can take that and just totally learn from it, and it's really fun.
In this particular group, the jazz band, we hope to really achieve a high caliber of playing and help propel the kids on if they care to go, or just to help them really get a good understanding of great music and become great instrumentalists. We're really just trying to teach jazz, and the more we can keep teaching it and bringing people to reinforce it, the better the kids are going to get it, and the more that it's going to keep growing and stay alive.
And keeping this treasured art form alive for future generations is yet another goal of Jazz from A to Z.
Jazz as an art form has been challenged across the country. Yeah. With the way music is changing and the way art changes on a daily basis now, we have a serious challenge in keeping people focused on jazz. It isn't just some old music that it just sounds good or it sounds old. It's now music that has life and meaning. But jazz is also the history of this country. When you want to talk about American slavery, when you want to talk about the Roaring '20s, when you want to talk about civil rights, that's jazz. It's the people, it's the place, and it's our culture.
For more information on the Jazz from A to Z program, visit the Mesa Center for the Arts website at www.mesaartscenter.com. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.